This is the Hireling Shepherd by William Holman Hunt, 1851, and it is to be found in the Manchester Art Gallery. Holman Hunt and John Everett Millais travelled to Ewell in Surrey in 1851, and they painted in adjacent fields. Millais painted alongside the Hogsback River and produced Ophelia, and that was at the same time as Arthur Hughes was producing an Ophelia unbeknownst to them. And Holman Hunt painted this scene, and the Millais and Holman Hunt were unusual as Pre-Raphaelites in that they put an equal emphasis on the landscape as on the characters in a painting, and therefore they started both paintings with doing the landscape and then completing the painting with models in studios in London. So we have here a rustic scene, lush summer, with a shepherd appearing to distract or attract the attention of a young lady with a death's head moth hawk, and he appears to have abandoned his sheep, some of whom are transgressing into a cornfield. Others appear to have eaten sour apples and are suffering the consequences of that. The detail in the painting is amazing, really. Holman Hunt had an incredible work rate, and he was known as Mad Hunt because of the amount of hours, amount of attention he could pay to his paintings. They reputedly worked for 11 hours a day for 5 months to complete these paintings in Ewell, and then of course further time was required to complete the paintings with the models. Holman Hunt was painting on white wet, and he was known to have spent a whole day completing 1 square inch of painting. When eventually the painting was sold to the Manchester Gallery, Holman Hunt provided in a letter a description linking the painting with the parable of the Good Shepherd from the Gospel according to St. John. And of course, in that parable, the Good Shepherd would lay down his life for his sheep, but in this painting we have a hireling shepherd who is prepared to disregard his sheep in the pursuit of the attentions of a young lady. It's a bit like a Victorian warning against hiring agency staff, and this was taken up, and it was seen as a religious painting, and the moral of what happens, in the Garden of Eden, where you had the Lamb of God and the biting of the apple and so on, leads to the downfall of the young woman, and therefore it was taken as a vehicle for putting across the Victorian message about no sex before marriage and so on. These are 2 preliminary studies for the Hireling Shepherd and of course Millais' Ophelia. The lady in the Hireling Shepherd was Emma Watkins, and she travelled up to London to model for Holman Hunt. And Charles Dickens was terribly critical of particularly Millais and the Pre-Raphaelites generally, and in his magazine Household Words in 1859, Robert Barabbas Brow wrote a thinly veiled scandalous fiction called Calmuck, as in cow muck, which really depicted an exploitative relationship between Holman Hunt and Emma Watkins. And Holman Hunt was outraged by this and took it up with Dickens, but Dickens denied all knowledge, and that was the end of the matter. Despite Holman Hunt linking the Hireling Shepherd with the parable from the Gospel according to St. John, he also said that when he created the painting, he didn't have any religious allegories in his mind, and therefore we need to look at the painting again from a rather different perspective. So what have we got here? We not very well reflected, unfortunately, this image, but there are birds going through the painting, which is a traditional Pre-Raphaelite image of freedom. In the tree, there are male and female, potentially erotic images, and the ale or cider barrel could certainly be seen as some sort of Freudian symbol. Her hand modelling is somewhat suggestive, and her face is skeptical and complicit at the same time. It's a bit, there's something of the Mona Lisa there, but she's an equal size and an equal partner in this matter, and she appears to be tempted to dip her toes. Out of the picture here, there is a sheep that was described by Holman Hunt as being blown in the cornfield, and we can see the sheep appearing from behind the tree. He's rolling up its eyes in amusement at what's about to take place. So here we have possibly sheep settling down to uh, enjoy the spectacle that's evolving in front of its eyes, and other sheep that are emulating this rural jollity by rolling around in the grass. And the good shepherd laid down his life for his sheep, but the hireling shepherd could have laid down his wife for his sheep. So, the hireling shepherd. We could see it as a vulgar depiction of sexual immorality amongst the lowlifes who populate the countryside, or it could be a parable about the price to pay for immodesty and immorality, or it could be a celebration of uninterrupted rural lust and fulfillment. However you wish to see it, it is a wonderful painting, and get along to see it.